Place your finger in my ring and say the pledge.
From Rocky IV to Napoleon Dynamite, no movie shall escape my sight. Beware my spoilers, Green Lantern shite.
Welcome to Diabolical, the show where four long-suffering friends dissect film's most dastardly schemes, then try to improve them. I'm your host, Adam, aka the Cinemaster, and this week's film is 2011's Green Lantern. So, dear listeners, speak the oath and wear a dodgy CGI costume, and let's get diabolical. Greetings and welcome to this week's pod. Joining me as usual are my friends and fellow podcasters in their guise as the panel of peril. So, my friends, please introduce yourselves and tell us, what is your favourite film that failed to meet expectations?
Hi everyone, it's Craig here. My favourite film that failed to meet expectations is The Matrix Reloaded. I think expectations were high.
Yes.
It's definitely had some bad reviews, and I personally love it.
Yeah. Is it a film you love despite its flaws?
Yeah, I can see some of the flaws in it.
That certainly is a hot potato.
Yeah.
A steaming tamale.
Yes.
Hi, Ben here. And the film that I love, despite its many flaws, is something we've covered before on the podcast. It's Gentlemen Broncos, directed by Jared Hess.
I thought you might say that. Yes. Good. Yes.
If you want to hear that, Peril Pals, go back to episode 46.
Oh, perfect. Abysmo, mate. You were the king of links today.
Thank you very much.
And last, certainly but not least, Gaz.
Hi gang, Gaz here, and my film that I like, I wouldn't say love, that failed to meet expectations is Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, because I think expectations were sky high after The Dark Knight, and realistically it was never gonna meet them, and indeed it does not.
It's a tough act to follow, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I really like it though.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, so do I.
What works in it works brilliantly.
Yeah, I watched it not long after we did The Dark Knight, and I was like, oh, it is good.
Yeah.
Especially Marion Cotillard in it as well. She's superb.
Yeah, I don't know though. I think her character's a little bit underbaked.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Like so much in the film.
It's not a bad sequel. For me.
Yes.
Anne Hathaway, on the other hand, was a bit of a revelation for me in that her ability to turn on a dime, pretending to be the victim, and then click of a finger becoming the ultra cool Catwoman. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was a role that I was very...
You were nearly casting.
You got to the last two. You lost out to Hathaway.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just didn't return the call in time. It was like when Bill Murray didn't ring back for... What role was it? I can't remember now.
Suburban Commando?
Suburban... Imprisoned on a far-off planet, yet stumbled upon by beings far below its cosmic power. Yer or Mare bursts forth from its crypt to take revenge on whichever films I'm about to mention. So, chaps, can I have a Yer or Mare for the following films of 2011? Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2.
Meh.
Never seen it.
No? Part 1 I thought was better. Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meh.
Ooh.
Never seen it.
Never seen it. Okay.
I like all the Thor films apart from number 4. Number 4 is awful.
It's atrocious.
Super 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that, yeah.
Never seen it.
I think you'd really like Super 8, man. It's a J.J. Abrams, Spielberg light kids doing stuff at night film.
It's a scary E.T. And last of all, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, it was all right.
Of course, we've already covered The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo all the way back at episode 36. So if you haven't checked it out yet, it's an hour of your time well spent.
Here.
Are you trying to usurp me as King of the Links?
I'm trying, but I'm failing so far. Do you mind?
Keep on failing.
Okay. Sorry, Your Majesty. Green Lantern is a DC Comics film directed by Martin Campbell and stars Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Peter Sarsgaard. The film had a budget of approximately $200 million.
What?
The story follows Hal Jordan, a cocky test pilot who becomes the first human Green Lantern after inheriting a powerful ring from an alien Green Lantern, Abin Sur. The ring grants Hal extraordinary powers and membership to the Green Lantern Corps, an intergalactic peacekeeping force. Hal must overcome his doubts and harness his willpower to confront Parallax, an ancient entity fueled by fear. At the box office, Green Lantern grossed around $219 million worldwide, which was below expectations given its substantial budget. Critically, the film received mixed reviews, with criticism directed at its script, pacing, and CGI. Due to its underperformance, the film didn't launch the intended franchise, and plans for the sequels were scrapped. It left a mixed legacy in the world of superhero cinema, serving as a cautionary tale about the challenges of adapting complex comic book lore to the big screen. Big budgets don't necessarily mean big returns. But what do we think? Craig?
I'd not seen it.
Yeah.
And I'd heard, obviously, like the reviews and everything. Everything's been like really negative about it. Even Ryan Reynolds, when he talks about it with such disdain. And I can really see why. It's fucking terrible. I was so violently bored throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Deathly dull, obvious, generic.
Mm-hmm.
The dad was wearing a T-shirt that says, "I'm going to die" at the start. He was wearing a red Star Trek uniform.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it was Martin Campbell because there's no trace of him in it, which people level that criticism at Marvel movies, and that's because the MCU is more like a TV series than it is like a movie series, in that it's overseen by a showrunner, Kevin Feige, who's very much given it this is what a Marvel movie looks like and this is the tone of it. Whereas this, it wasn't really following anything. I guess it's following a little bit Superman the movie. There's a few scenes that are reminiscent of that. And actually even the theme I found quite reminiscent of the Superman theme, which I thought was odd.
Yeah, definitely.
Terrible misstep for James Newton Howard. A far cry from The Dark Knight. Peter Sarsgaard I really liked, although I thought his makeup was stupid. But good. It was very good, but it was stupid. Like a bad design, well realised. And there was just so much about it that I just thought, when I was engaged enough to pay attention, I thought, why did you not do this? Because I just found it so fucking boring.
Yeah.
That was my main criticism of it. Yeah. So, not for me.
I suspected as much, and I think we'll probably have a similar thread running through this particular episode. We're going to go for Ben next, please.
Well, regular listeners of this show will know that the best way to lose me at the start of a film is with a hefty, uninspired exposition dump. And this film delivers one of the worst examples of that I've ever seen. My very first note says, "The emerald energy of willpower, fuck off. Why did the Cinemaster pick this turd?" And it never really recovered from that for me. The plot is just so convoluted and disjointed. They tried to shoehorn in like exposition with every other line, it feels like. The characters are really undeveloped, and what development there is feels really cheap and unearned, I think. It's a shame because I think all the elements of a good story are in there somewhere. They just feel a bit mismanaged.
Yeah.
So overall, I give it a why did you make me watch this out of 5?
I shall reveal that shortly.
Probably tons of studio meddling. I wonder how heavily Jeff Johns was involved in this, because I think it was based on some comics that Jeff Johns had done. And if you remember from a previous episode, we all think Jeff Johns is a cunt. So
Yeah, it didn't bode well, did it, really? If he was involved straight away, the warning flags are up. Gaz, dare I ask, are you just going to review it with one word like you sometimes do?
No.
Oh,
I wouldn't go as far as Craig or Ben in my disdain for the film. I certainly will likely never watch it again. But I think a lot of it did work for me. I like the villain, Parallax. Didn't like Hector Hammond, the human lackey. But I liked Parallax. I liked his design. I initially wrote, he looks like a lame little nerd from Rick and Morty with his overbite. But I agree to quite like him. Lame little nerd though he is.
Yeah.
The thing that really doesn't work about it for me is Ryan Reynolds. And thinking about it, I don't think I've ever enjoyed his performance in anything that I've seen him in. He's not a likable on-screen persona to me. He's got that sort of sarky college boy persona that he always seems to do on screen to me. And it really clashes with the earnest superhero stuff at the end. And the character just doesn't work as a result. It's oil and water, those two halves of the persona.
He's only ever played Van Wilder, hasn't he? Even as Deadpool. Which that kind of works in Deadpool because he is kind of like that.
Yeah.
But do you know what's always stuck with me is Blade Trinity when he calls that woman a cock-juggling thunder cunt. And I think that he's never shaken off that. That's just him forever now.
Yeah.
Which is weird because if you've watched him in the Welcome to Wrexham stuff, he's really earnest and seems like a really nice guy.
Oh, yeah, he's a nice guy in real life, yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to play it.
No.
If he'd have played himself in Green Lantern, I think it'd have worked a lot better.
If he was Ryan Reynolds becomes the Green Lantern Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is it. They went, we're going to get Ryan Reynolds to play Green Lantern. He only plays this role where he's this cocksure arsehole that's always pulling women and doing what he wants.
Hal Jordan is like that, to be fair, but I think a lot of the dialogue was probably improvised by Reynolds. Some of it was funny. I like.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to favourite lines later.
We'll get to lines in a bit. Yeah.
I've just seen a humorous note that I've written that simply says, "Hal's dad heroically tries to kill as many people as he can before turning into a flaming ball of shit."
Yeah, exactly. I know. I've got a similar note. The saying, "Why would he crash it into all the people?"
It's crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely batshit crazy.
But why is this photo everywhere Ryan Reynolds looks? Every time Ryan Reynolds turns, his dad's photos there.
It just turns, oh shit, that's another picture of my dad.
Come on, of all the things in this film to complain about, I think it's very obvious what's happening in that airplane crash scene is that he's trying to give the crowd a show. He wants the plane to explode right over them so they get their money's worth.
Like fireworks.
They'll remember those 4th-degree burns for the rest of their life.
Well, as for me, like I said at the start, it is my favourite failed movie because I can see the potential there. It's like watching like a rocket taking off. You see everything firing up and it's all going, and then just before it takes off, it just keels over and explodes. And you're like, oh, shit. Well, if actually the film exploded, that would be actually more entertaining than most of the film, to be honest.
But you missed the rocket exploding because you turned to watch your spouse painting a wall and then you saw the paint dry.
Or I saw a picture of my dad who crashed a plane on the wall and had to stare at him lovingly for about 5 seconds and turn around. Oh, it's gone.
I kind of get where Gaz is coming from in that I didn't think anything about this was spectacularly awful. It was just boring. Nothing about it clicked for me. I didn't care about the characters. I couldn't engage with it because it was just kind of a mess.
That's how I feel about it as well. All the elements were there. It was just like a big gumbo of all these different elements. And it's like putting tyres in with scallops and mussels and then George chucking a few pieces of wood.
I'm not coming to yours for dinner.
There's so many stupid, illogical moments in it as well.
Yeah.
We were talking about the plane crash there. How come he, a small child, is left to run towards the burning wreckage? Nobody stops him.
There's absolutely no way that happened. But you can suspend that disbelief because it's the movies and it's so...
It's the movies, baby!
It's not the first film where we've reviewed stuff and it's absolutely batshit crazy, is it?
Yeah, I would forgive it if it was fun or emotional, but it was just kind of stupid.
Exactly. There's got to be a redeeming quality at the end there, other than it being it almost could have been a really good movie, which isn't a redeeming quality as far as I'm concerned.
Right, yeah.
It does have the elements in there, but it's not enough for me. And I have watched it quite a few times. Every so often I go, oh, maybe it's not as bad as I remember it is. So I'll watch it and I'll be like, yeah, it is. It really is.
I think you must be the only person who's watched it multiple times.
I bought the DVD.
Never seen anybody talk about it in favourable terms before.
No.
I think the thing about it is that they tried to put in so much.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't dedicate the time to the bits that really mattered.
Yeah.
And that's why everything just felt unearned.
So you're saying you want an extended director's cut? Is that what you're saying, Ben?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They set up too many plot threads for a sequel, didn't they, as part of it? So his girlfriend from Gossip Girl, who's now his wife,
Yeah.
the love
Like
interest,
Lively.
Steve Buscemi.
she becomes Star Sapphire, a purple kind of Green Lantern. And they were obviously, she was heavily involved in it because they thought there was going to be a sequel, right? You see that from the post-credits sting.
Yeah.
With, surprise,
Sinestro,
a guy
yeah.
called Sinestro, who looks like a cartoon devil, turns out to be a future villain.
Yeah.
So they set him up as the Yellow Lantern. And
Yeah, for no reason at all.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think the reason it feels bloated is because they were trying to set up a sequel in there as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, there was hope of that, but they hadn't put the elements together. I just don't understand why somebody hadn't at the editing stage and gone, God, what's going on here?
Yeah.
We've got so many subplots. It's insane.
Yeah, we've got this huge exposition of what the Green Lanterns are, and then Parallax coming back and all that. I like that bit, and I like Parallax. I think he's a good enemy. I think he's the wrong enemy for this film.
I was surprised to hear you say that.
I really like Parallax. I like the power of fear, and things like that, and then him just being this menace throughout.
I like how alien he is.
Yeah.
Hector seemed like a much more interesting villain to me because on the face of it, he's the most moral kind of character in it before his turn. His dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised he wanted to kill him. He's the only one kind of questioning the military murder machine that's going on around him.
Yeah.
He's the most sympathetic character in it, the most kind of relatable character in it, I think. Everyone else is very one-dimensional.
They made him look like a pedo, though, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
That's his downfall. That's why people don't like him.
That was the design concept.
Yeah.
You didn't like him even when he was supposed to sympathise with him at the beginning. You didn't really trust him either or like him that much. You just thought, oh, he's a bit down his luck, but he looks a bit of a creep. And then when he turns into a baddie, you're like, oh, yeah, well, he's an arsehole. So you don't really like him. Yeah, for me, I'd say I take all the elements of what you all say, but I still revisit it every now and again just to, I don't know, maybe to torture myself, maybe just to try and wish it into a better movie than it actually is. I don't know. I feel like it was a real missed opportunity for the Green Lantern, but I think, isn't it Nathan Fillion coming back?
Guy Gardner, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, so not Hal Jordan.
Superman film.
Well, he's going to be the green light bulb.
Quite right.
Yeah, so I look forward to that. I also think, when you look at the films that are coming out that summer, you have Thor, which I've already mentioned, Captain America, the First Avenger, and X-Men First Class. I don't think it can, in those terms, it can't hold a candle to any of those films. It's a really stiff competition. Plus, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, it came out between those two films as well. And obviously, the people responsible, producers responsible for Green Lantern, were just trying too hard.
Yeah, that's the story of DC's films so far, isn't it? Trying too hard to catch up to Marvel and fucking it up.
Yeah.
Instead of leaning into what makes them different and better.
Yeah.
What did you all make of the CGI?
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not good. I like the design, though, like the sequence on Oa when Hal first arrives with Tomari and goes flying around. I like all the design work, but yeah, the actual CG is quite flat and lifeless and cartoonish.
Did you think the visualization of Oa itself was a bit underwhelming?
Yeah, it was very
grey,
lacking in scale and depth to me.
Yeah, I was like, 200 million, and they can't create a world where you're just going, holy crap.
To me, it's like when on BBC Doctor Who, which has obviously a TV budget, when they show you Gallifrey, it's kind of a desert with a snow globe in the middle that has a sort of citadel in it. You feel like, oh, that's quite good for TV, but if you try and envisage an alien world, it's quite disappointing that it just has the one city in it, and then it's just a rock. And that's kind of the way I felt about Oa in this. It was just like 18 or 19 buildings, and they didn't really show you anything else.
You think about Avatar, which came out 2 years before this. And Hal realised that world is
Right.
crazy.
Night and day.
Apparently, they rushed the CGI in the end.
Oh, you don't say.
And it wasn't finished properly, and then hence they suffered.
What were the Guardians? They just wait on Oa, do they? Just wait for the meetings.
Floating that tower, yeah. That's it, yeah.
They're just standing there.
Yeah, floating about.
That's a sci-fi trope, though, isn't it? You know, the all-powerful overseers who don't get involved in things.
Yeah.
No, not those. I mean, the Green Lantern Corps.
Cool.
They're all just standing waiting for meetings. Every time Hal Jordan turns up, they're all there raising their rings up.
Yeah.
They're not in their sectors looking after it.
Right. That is odd.
Anybody else would like to batter the shit out of this movie anymore before we move on to favourite bits and favourite lines?
I'm knackered.
Do we all need like a 5-minute nap?
There's a couple more things that are really illogical. So, like...
Yeah, go on.
Only in bad movies do people drive miles for a 2-minute meeting, which is something that Hector does. He drives to meet his dad. They have like a less than 2-minute conversation and he just leaves.
Yeah.
Nobody would do that in real life.
Yeah.
This is set in 1993, but everybody looks like they're living in 1963. All the dads have the suits and the slick back hair, and all the kids are dressed in their Sunday best. It's weird as fuck.
Is it really set in 1993? I didn't clock that.
No, it's set in 2011. It's set...
No, the flash... when he's young, Hal, it's...
Oh, the flashback. Oh, sorry, that's what you mean.
Oh, right.
Sorry. Okay.
The dad's got a 50s pilot jacket on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Keep it warm for me, son.
Yeah.
I'll be back really soon, I promise.
Alive and well.
There's no chance I'm going to die.
I like the visualization of a lot of the constructs, like the chainsaw and other stuff. But when he does his first big green punch, I mean, those guys are dead, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely fucking spines shattered.
Internal organs and mush.
The worst thing that makes no sense, I mean, obviously this is something from the comics, is that Sinestro sees that fear corrupted Parallax. His thought is, why don't we try using fear? Yeah. What do you mean?
The Guardians have already have had their fingers burnt with that, and they go, yeah, sound, let's make another one. It's like, why? Every time I watch it, I'm just go, you're fucking stupid. You deserve to be destroyed, the lot of you.
I wonder if that was developed more in the comics, because it seemed really weird in the film. Just came out absolutely nowhere.
I doubt it. It's probably from like that, Silver Age where things like that didn't matter.
I see. I
think Sinestro would have made a much better villain for this movie, because that thread that runs through it, he's always going, oh, let's make a ring of fear, come on. And eventually they do and never get to use it. And then at the end...
Yeah, they could have done a Last Jedi and killed off what you thought was the big bad halfway through, and then actually it's Sinestro. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that wasn't the first time Sinestro's asked for a ring of fear? He just keeps asking him every time something comes up. He just goes, ring of fear?
Can I have a ring of fear, please?
It was Parallax or what Parallax used to be, wasn't it? So, and then they was like, oh yeah, it'll be fine, yeah. And he was like, oh, ridiculous.
So another one that makes no sense to me is when Hector has got Andy Dufresne and Vivica Fox at the lab, why does Hal show up? How does he know anything's happening there?
Oh, there's too many of those. If we start listing through those kind of continuity things.
But that one in particular, I was like, how the fuck did you know anything was happening here? It's like a secret lab.
I think if we go down this particular rabbit hole, we could be here for another 15 minutes.
All right. And then just my one other big note, which I think is a real missed opportunity. And I think because this is a trope that I enjoy in films.
Yeah.
There's a bit where Hal uses a satellite to try and batter Parallax in space.
Yeah.
And they don't show you what satellite service he knocked out. Wouldn't that have been a fun little moment? Somebody's trying to watch like Jeopardy on cable and the satellite service goes out. Just a little bit of comic relief. And what I've written is, it would have been fun to see what satellite service he knocked out, which I guess is why we didn't see it. Because God forbid anything fun should happen in this fucking film.
And on that note, we shall move on to, dare I say it, favourite sequences. And I think we'll start with Gaz.
Well, I've gone for something on Oa, which is the fight training with Kilowog.
Yeah.
He was always one of my favourite lanterns in the Justice League animated series, and I think they not quite did him justice in the film, but it still jazzes me to see him there in quote-unquote live action.
Yeah.
Good. Craig?
Well, what I've gone for is, and there's a caveat to this, I thought it was a lot of fun when he turned the flaming, crippled helicopter into a Hot Wheels car and put it on a Hot Wheels track.
Yeah.
But then as I was watching it, I thought this was fun. But now that I'm watching it, I'm not sure I'm having fun. It was a fun concept, but the fun dwindled very quickly from it.
Okay. Excellent. Ben?
So I've got one genuinely cool bit and then one that just made me laugh so hard that I love it.
Okay.
The genuinely cool bit is where Hammond fires the beer tap into the helicopter. I thought that was quite creative.
Yeah.
Quite a creative way of downing it. And, you'd never get caught for it. No one would ever suspect you. So that was very clever. And then the bit that made me laugh was the scene with Hal and his nephew at the birthday party. It felt like the scene from Dark Place where Dag's in with a little boy. They should pay you a hero's wage. Because the nephew's like, they don't respect you enough, Hal. You're the best. You know you're the best. And he's like, yeah, I know I'm the best.
I liked most of the stuff with Parallax. I'd say him busting out of his prison was one of my favourite bits, or possibly the bit where he gets caught under a net and then he takes the most powerful Green Lanterns to bits.
Yeah.
But not Sinestro for some reason, who I guess just hightails it out of there.
Yeah, he just hides behind an asteroid and peeks out, doesn't he? And goes, oh.
But he doesn't believe in fear, only in will.
Only in what's in my trousers, and they're quite squishy. Right, favourite lines. It's pretty slim pickings.
I have one. It's the Lantern Oath, which I've always liked. It feels
It's a
like
good oath.
The comic book equivalent to the Lord of the Rings thing. It's not an oath, is it? One ring to rule them all that shit.
3 rings for the elves, wisest, and that stuff you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Lantern Oath, I'm going to try and do it from memory.
Go on then.
In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. For those who worship evil's might, beware my power, Green Lantern's light. Yeah, boy.
That's it. Very good.
Nailed
Lovely.
it.
That's a nice rendition.
1 ring for the master, and 1 for the dame, and
One for the little boy who lived down the lane.
Here's a question for you. Is there ever any daylight on Oa? It seems like it was always dark.
It doesn't have an atmosphere, so it's just space, isn't it?
Well, then what are they talking about frickin' daylight in their oath for?
Oh, yeah.
Well, some of the planets in their sectors must have suns and daylight because part of his training is to not be sucked into the gravitational force of the sun, isn't it?
Bullshit. Oh.
Funny how you think the sun's impossibly colossal, don't you? You try and envision it, but whenever it's shown in a superhero movie, the scale of it next to a human, it's just like it's a small zorbing ball.
Like a hot zorbing ball.
Yeah. Just set a zorb on fire and film that.
Go on then, Craig. What's your favourite line?
So it's when Blake Lively says that if it had been up to her, they would have gone with a guy called Jensen. And he says, yeah, I'd have gone with Jensen too, but unfortunately he's busy not being good enough. I thought that was quite a good little bob.
Yeah, not bad at all. There were some few little bits like that. I've got one of them as well myself, but I'll let Ben go first if he's got anything.
Mine is an exchange between Hal and Carol at the same party where
Carol, that's her name.
Carol.
Where Hammond takes down the helicopter. They're standing in front of the prop plane, and Hal comes over and says, "Nice." Carol says, "My dad used to train him once."
I thought you were done.
He was pausing for dramatic effect.
Yeah. Let me start again there, Craig.
Oh, man. I honestly thought you were done. That's incredible.
Hal comes over and says, "Nice." Carol says, "My dad used to train me in one." And then Hal goes, "I was talking about the dress."
Yeah.
Smooth.
That made me laugh.
It reminded me of Job from Arrested Development when he's talking to Starla, the business model. "Nice model. I meant you."
He's a charmer.
As for me, I like when he's talking to Taika Waititi, and there's an exchange between them, and then he's showing him his Green Lantern gear, and he says, "He gave me this," and shows him a ring. He proposed?
Boo.
Oh, wait, I have one more thing to add. During Sinestro's first sequence, which I think must be with the Guardians. No, it's not. It's Abin Sur when he's crash landing to Earth and he's contacting them to say that he's dying and he's passing the ring on. I've written Sinestro's final line to Abin Sur sounds like he's saying, "I've demanded an orgasm." No idea what he actually said. That's what it sounded like to me.
Parallax feeds on the fear of beings across the universe to grow stronger. He aims to create widespread fear, thereby increasing his power to a level where he can confront and destroy the Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians of the Universe, using his pawn Hammond on Earth to take care of Hal Jordan. Gaz, what do you think of the plan?
It's okay. I probably would have, if I was Parallax, gone to a planet that didn't have a lantern stationed on it. There must be some, because as we've discussed, they're just always sat on Oa, waiting for things to come to them, seemingly. But on the whole, he seems like he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He's had a lot of time to think about it in his prison, and he's only really foiled because of this new whippersnapper upstart Sarky lantern. So I'd say it's quite good.
Okay, Craig.
Yeah, I think it was going okay until he disintegrated/consumed Hector Hammond. Would have made far more sense for him to keep his one human ally, potential ally, since this is the first human that his kind have encountered, apparently. So I think that was his main undoing. Apart from that, you can't really account for Hal Jordan's hitherto unseen levels of willpower that he couldn't muster up until the moment called for it. Good old humans, eh?
Yeah, all the plucky old humans, always pulling out the bag at the last minute. I tell you. Ben?
The plan in itself overall wasn't bad. It's hard to judge because the film is bad. And so many things just happen for apparently no reason. That it's, Craig mentioned earlier, Hal just turns up at the science lab. How does he know? Maybe his ring was flashing. I don't know.
Ooh.
But because of those elements, it's hard to judge the flaws of the plan that well. I'm going to give it 5 Florets of broccoli because I think he was pretty close.
Is it green broccoli?
No, it's the yellow broccoli of fear.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, of course.
Keep it away.
It's like the episode of Futurama where Fry defeats the Brains by rewriting the plots of the novels that they're in. I'm going away now for no reason.
I thought his plan was fairly solid, but I'd agree with the sentiments of getting rid of Hammond, just because he was a bit cheesed off, really, wasn't he? And I think instead of getting rid of Hammond, maybe you should have kept him and got some more, which might form part of my plan in a little while.
Some more Hammonds, like the guy from Top Gear.
Hello, John. Hello, John. Hello, John.
Parallax's plan ultimately fails due to the heroic efforts of Hal Jordan, who overcomes his own fear and doubt, harnesses the power of will, and defeats Parallax by luring him into the gravitational pull of the sun, from which he cannot escape. The great big lump that he is. So now, it's that time we've all been waiting for, and why I've chosen this film. Our own plans. Can we do any better? Ben, what have you got for us?
Parallax is seen inside Hammond's bulbous mind. He knows what Hal Jordan's weaknesses are and exactly how to exploit them. He knocks up a convincing construct of Hal Jordan and sends him to Earth. Then he hides behind the moon for a bit and commands Hammond to hide near Carol's place. Once the construct Hal arrives, he also heads to Carol's place and gets straight to a wooing. He knocks on the balcony window to get her attention and starts to dance seductively. He moves slowly and deliberately, his body undulating to some unheard rhythm. He makes eye contact with Carol, his gaze full of promise. He beckons her toward him. "Oh, Hal, what are you like?" laughs Carol as she sashays over. They stand close, their bodies pressed together, swaying softly. His hands glide over her body, sending shivers of pleasure down her spine. He gently spins her. As she faces away from him, he gets her in a full Nelson and zooms down to where Hammond is waiting. Hammond proceeds to inject her with his creamy yellow essence matter.
Oh.
When Good Hal returns from one of his pointless outings, he is confronted by Construct Hal, Hammond, and Carol, who is now evil, but not yet bulbous. Playing the part of the damsel in distress, she shouts, "Help me, Hal! These bad bastards are really naughty." Construct Hal then flies up into space with Carol, who continues screaming and whinging about the terrible day she's having. Good Hal naturally follows. The high-speed pursuit takes them past Mars, past Jupiter, even past Saturn. Once Parallax sees the group past the moon, he sneaks out from his hiding place and devours Earth, thus gaining enough power to defeat the Guardians. Which he almost doesn't manage to do, but then he does.
When you started, I thought you were going to do Cyrano de Bergerac. You know, when you said Hector hides in the bushes and Hal goes to the balcony, I thought it was going to be like Hector telling Hal what to say these romantic lines.
So listen to this, Craig. This is a little bit I cut. Here we go.
Okay, go on then.
"Oh, Carol, your hair is as soft as a ghost's whisper," says Construct Hal when Carol comes to the balcony. "Your nose is as small and round as a newborn penis. Your eyes like 2 medium cups of blue drink. I long for you, I need you, we belong together. Come with me, and I'll show you what our future could be." And then underneath it says, "If questioned on Construct Hal speaking, claim Cyrano de Bergerac."
Very nice.
Wonderful. My question then is, how does Parallax make a Construct Hal? Because Parallax does not have a power ring, and as far as I've seen, his powers don't include making constructs of things. They just seem to be like telekinesis.
So I think he can make constructions because I did a bit of research on Parallax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same way as the Green Lanterns can make constructs, isn't it? He's harnessing the power of fear, though, whereas they're using a ring to channel the power of willpower, aren't they?
The green power of willpower.
Why doesn't he do it then?
They couldn't afford the CG. They'd blown it all on Hot Wheels.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's it. There's Hot Wheels, that was about $50 million. Okay, I enjoyed that, especially the additional content at the end that was teased out here, so
yeah.
Very good. Any further questions? We shall have Gaz.
I may be a massive pile of space sludge with a face, but I'm still going to need to bulk up if I want to defeat the Green Lantern Corps. I need loads of egg whites to help me gain muscle mass, and the added bonus of the White Lantern holding the power of life, because egg whites, White Lantern. That's what I was thinking there. And I think they just do cartons of that sludge, don't they? Pretty sure they do in America at least, if not elsewhere. In any case, mega muscle and more life force, yes please. Whilst I'm chowing on some eggy eggs and hitting the weights, I shall simply project a series of hell of a scary horror movies over planet Earth to create a mass state of fear. Your Nightmare on Elm Street, your Evil Dead, your Hammer horrors and what have you. That fear's good eating, along with the good eating of the eggs, and I am now built like a brick shithouse. I then absolutely tear arse, and I mean bomb it, over to Oa to greet the Lantern Corps with an eardrum-splitting boo! You should see their faces as the fear overwhelms them in an instant. And I gain the power of all 3,600 Green Lanterns. I'm roided off my tits now, and it's an absolute cinch to mosey on over to the Guardian's throne room, and floss my pointy overbite with them until their bodies simply fall to pieces. I can do them all simultaneously, naturally, as I have a dead big gob and loads of arms too, probably. For the pièce de résistance, I simply fart out the Guardian's remains into the gravitational pull of the nearest sun, to make super duper sure that they are fully destroyed. And they are. And then I do a very big laugh. A very big laugh indeed.
Very nice. Wow.
It's a shame that, Gaz, because in space no one can hear you laugh.
Oh.
Damn and blast.
Maybe you can create like an artificial atmosphere around yourself just for that particular moment.
They actually do that in this, don't they? Because they have a scene in space where they have dialogue. So it's because they project an aura around them from the ring, don't they? So they can communicate that way.
Well, there we are. Problem solved.
That was quite close to my first idea that I ditched, because the first thought I had is, okay, you want to increase the fear. And what I thought is, so I've seen a film where they want to increase goodwill, to be, in point of fact.
Goodwill Hunting?
No, it's Ghostbusters 2, when they take the Statue of Liberty through New York.
Because the ooze reacts to it.
Yeah. What's the fear version of that? And I think Gaz has nailed it. I think my favourite part is that he says boo. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Which we all know is terrifying.
Right.
But he's massive, so it'd be really loud. And they'd be like, what?
Yeah, he's roided off his tits.
If somebody of smaller stature said boo to you, you wouldn't be bothered. But then if somebody the size of a planet said boo in a booming voice, then you'd be quite unnerved.
It wouldn't be the boo that would be the terrifying part, to be honest. It would be the massive creature that said it.
Right.
The boo would be the straw that broke the camel's back, wouldn't it, really?
Right, fair enough. So does Parallax devour the humans, or does he just project horror movies?
He projects the horror movies to induce fear, which then rises up into the air.
All right.
And he just sort of scoops it up with a sludgy butterfly net.
It's a bit like the water cycle. It kind of
evaporates and then precipitates.
Yeah.
Do we see any evidence of that in the film, or is that just something you've assumed happens?
It's something that I think is logical.
You see the will kind of just coming to Oa in waves, right? They get will somehow, osmosis.
Okay.
It doesn't really explain how they get it, but they get it.
I suppose where there's a will, there's a way. That wasn't a joke.
No.
That was factually accurate.
Excellent. Well, 2 very good plans so far. Are you going to make it 3 for 3, Craig?
Parallax is powered by fear, the source of the yellow light. But fear alone is not strong enough to defeat will, the source of the green light. In the DC universe, there are many different colours of lantern core. The indigo light of compassion, the blue light of hope, the violet light of love, the orange light of avarice, and the red light of rage. Parallax surmises that none of these forces alone is powerful enough to dominate any other, and so he sets out to unify the colours into one great spectrum. He envisions a rainbow lantern, or perhaps a white lantern. It's not long before Parallax has mixed the colours and forged a new power ring, becoming the first brown lantern. It wasn't what he expected, but he felt a power well beyond that of a mere green lantern. He focused his mind and made his first brown construct. A huge turd emerged from his ring, casting a shadow across Uranus, then the solar system, then the whole Milky Way. It stank. It stank of shit. Real no fooling shit. Everyone could smell how shitty it was from a mile off, and when they looked to Green Lantern for help, they saw that he was caked in shit, head to toe, unable to escape the shittiness. The Brown Lantern drowned the whole DC universe in shit, sinking everything with one massive plop.
Excellent.
Finito.
Fini.
Oh, wow.
That's very succinct. Very nice. Very nice. And you have made it 3 for 3. That's going to be an extremely difficult choice for me this evening.
Brown Lantern.
Yeah.
Do constructs have an odour?
Yes, if you want them to. If
Okay.
you have the power of the brown lantern. Maybe a green lantern doesn't have the power to produce a shitty stink, but a brown lantern,
Ooh.
he can produce a shitty stink. Have you seen this film?
I want to, more than anything.
Maybe we should make it Brown Lantern. Has anyone done it?
Brown lantern, yeah, like a really shit lantern.
I think we get done if we call it brown lantern. We'll call it brown light bulb or something.
Yeah.
Surely they don't have a fucking copyright on the word lantern.
Yeah, I think you could get away with it, couldn't you? As long as the bits to do with the power, where he got his power from, and as long as he went, he could like charge up a Portaloo or something where he gets his ring from. Puts his ring to a Portaloo and charges it up.
Or he has to read the book by the toilet to charge it up.
Oh yeah. That's it.
The comics count.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Phew. Everyone likes a comic on the bog.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I used to have Garfield comics next to my bog.
Yeah.
That's some good reading.
Right. Any further questions for Craig?
Just one.
Just one.
What does Parallax use to wipe his ring?
He wipes his ring with a construct of brown paper, of course.
Brown paper. Well, not a flushable wipe.
It doesn't need to flush. He just sort of lets it drift in space.
Oh.
No further questions from me.
No further questions, so I shall punch our tickets and get us on the train home. Using just a smidge of his colossal being, Parallax manages to bestow huge telepathic powers on a mere mortal human, namely Hector Hammond. With this in mind, Parallax decides to send little bits of himself to thousands of worlds at a time. These little intelligent bits of him still essentially fall under the influence and control of Parallax. He commands them to enter the body of a living host and quickly spread fear and then consume that power by any means necessary. While Big Daddy Parallax continues to slowly consume entire planets and keeps the lanterns distracted, slowly chipping away at their combined strength, his little minions are gradually infesting. Just like Hammond, these new legions of Parallax quickly become the most powerful beings on each world, sometimes growing themselves in power, sometimes creating more agents of fear to cause confusion and panic. Occasionally, they are defeated by some lanterns, but Parallax hardly raises a cosmic eyebrow. His minions are too numerous for the casualties to make a difference. With the Green Lantern Corps already depleted, and the reports of the new threats on worlds across the universe, the lanterns are stretched thin and in disarray. Parallax's plan has worked. Sensing his moment has come, Parallax calls for his fear vassals to him. As he absorbs them into himself, he swells in size and power, eventually descending on Oa. Parallax's huge form, engorged by his minions, evokes a terrible sense of doom on the inhabitants of the planet, and he consumes all that attempt to flee. The Guardians themselves are rocked by self-doubt and fear for the first time. As Parallax sweeps aside the last remnants of the lanterns on Oa, the final showdown with the Guardians is on. Parallax brings all his fear to bear, crushing the willpower of the Guardians in a tsunami of terror, stripping them to pieces like hot buttered corn on the cob. Delicious.
I've never actually put butter on corn on the cob.
Oh, better on corn on the cob is...
Oh, it's amazing.
I just thought there was the yellow power of fear, and when he's stripping them, the yellow power out of them, they go yellow. So I just thought, what veg is yellow? I was like, corn. So it's just corn on the cob.
Better on corn's amazing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he, in the course of sending off little bits of himself across the universe, wouldn't he shrink? And when they return to him, he would just return to the same size, without the benefit of roids.
No, he's absolutely massive. So he can send off, that bit that gets in Hammond is tiny, isn't it? It's absolutely tiny.
Yeah.
So he just sends off thousands of bits like that. And he's already the size of like a small moon, essentially, isn't he? Like the Death Star or something. So he just sends off loads of bits everywhere. And then when they come back, they're inside hosts. Some of them are swollen in power themselves. And he just absorbs that like he would his victim sort of thing.
Is he that big? I thought he was only kind of, the size of a Zorb Something like a Zorb size.
No, he's massive, isn't he?
Oh, he's pretty big.
He covers that entire city, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah.
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 I must have nodded off.
Yeah, that's fine. When they've all done their sucking out of the powers and all the telepathy and they've grown in power, then that's when he senses his moments come. He pulls them all back in, sucks all their power in, grows in size, and then that's it.
Should we say for scale that Hal is the size of a garden pea, and relative to Hal, Parallax is the size of a corn cob, and he takes off one corn to send to each planet? At the end, isn't he going to be like one of those really small corn cobs that you get?
No, he's not, because I just said the bit that infects Hammond is tiny.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But if you want lots of Hammonds across lots of worlds, then you have to have lots of small bits, and eventually lots of small bits add up, don't they?
The bits aren't corn-sized bits. So imagine one kernel of corn split into 1,000 pieces. That's what he sends out.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how that makes him bigger when they come back.
Because they've engorged the energy from their respective planets.
Okay. Got you. That makes sense. They've each become like a mini corn cob on a lolly stick, and when they return to the main cob...
Right.
This is clearing it up lovely.
I think I shouldn't have put in corn on the cob at the end of my plan, because it's obviously affected you in ways I didn't intend.
No, it's working for me now. Now I can see a really long corn cob. It's getting bigger because the lolly stick corn cobs returning to it are making it longer.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Oh, there you go. Good.
Sounds like we're getting into the GM feeds controversy of the early 2000s.
Right, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Frankenstein foods, yeah.
EU wants to bend your corn cobs. That's what they want.
Oh, God, yeah.
Bloody
straight bananas.
Yeah.
Cinemaster, there are elements of your plan that sounded like a Mills and Boon novel.
Really?
There was a lot of engorging.
Swollen, I believe I heard.
Yeah.
Is there any reason for that?
Engorged? I only said it once.
Yeah, there was a part of it where it sounded like you were describing a penis.
What? What was that then?
It sounded like you were smacking your lips and your lips.
Wait a minute. What? Tell me exactly which part of my plan sounds like filth.
The tongue around the glands bit sounded quite...
Going to town on his balls, was that the bit?
That bit, yeah. That bit I maybe took out of context. Maybe it's not the double entendre I thought it was.
I was talking about pumping up his footballs that were a bit deflated.
Oh, I see.
So what do we think there, folks? Some truly, deviously diabolical schemes. In summary, we had Ben's Hal Jordan doppelganger, Gaz's Parallax on roids, and Craig's Brown Lantern. And of course, my own Parallax on corner of the cob. Craig, who have you voted for?
I have voted for... Boo! Gaz.
Very good.
Very good.
Gaz, who have you voted for?
I have voted for... Boom! Ben.
Oh, yes.
Ben, who have you voted for?
I have voted for Quayle's Big Turd.
Yeah, very good. And it's only me coming home without the goods this week. I have voted for Gaz.
Ooh.
Right.
Oh, good week for Gaz.
Uncommonly good.
Very good week for plans. I've got to say, your three plans were really, really super duper. And I was hoping for some excellent plans to come out of a shit film.
I made myself laugh again, like I did with Body Double.
I can imagine.
And Dark Crystal. I made myself laugh when we did Dark Crystal as well. I was just...
that's a good one.
I just sat there this afternoon just tittering at a turd comes out of his ring.
Like a little titmouse.
Yeah, I tried to tell her about it and she laughed a little bit, but I was like, I don't care. I think it's hilarious.
I get that. When we're walking the dog, I tell Mina about my plan. She's like, it's going to be good.
What are you doing with your life, guys?
Right. So, Gaz, how's that affected the scoreboards this week?
A little bit of a change this week.
Oh.
In first place with 11 points is Craig.
Oh.
Ooh.
In Second place with 10 points is the Cinemaster.
Ooh.
In third place with 9 points is me.
Ooh.
Wanker.
And finally, with 6 points is Ben.
Ah.
So what? I'm bloody catching up.
Yep, narrowing the gap.
5 points from top to bottom, separating everybody.
Yeah.
That's a spicy meatball.
Mamma mia.
Next week, Gaz has the honour of selecting his pick of film, which will be Gaz.
Well, now, if my maths are correct, next week's episode will release on October the 30th, which is very close to October the 31st, the day of which is Halloween. And so the most appropriate film that I can think of for the day before Halloween is John Carpenter's Halloween.
Ooh.
A Halloween-ean treat.
From the master of horror himself.
That's good treating.
Like a pumpkin pie.
And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed yourselves as much as we have. If you have, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast from. And don't forget to follow us so that you never miss an episode. You can also follow us across social media on @DiabolicalPod. So until next time, dear listeners, how did we end up so different?
May the good Lord shine a green light on you. Make every song your favorite tune. May the good Lord shine a yellow light on you. Like the evening sun. Relight my green fire.
Your ring is my only desire.
Bill Murray was close on that one.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's certainly got the hand strength. I've shaken his hand once, and tell you, it's like a vice.
He just didn't have the silky smooth hair.
Yeah. Well, the bandanas.
I'll pull it for my document. And
The rat has got my documents.
That's what Gaz calls his pants. They're around his ankles up until this point.
I said the same thing to Petra. I said, I've written this plan. And I said, do you want to hear it? And she said, yeah. I'll just in a minute. And she'll go make herself a brew. And then she'll come and sit back down. And I started telling her. And she's just like, what? Yeah. I was like, oh, never mind. And I was like a couple of sentences in. And she's just like, I was like, forget about it. Don't worry.
Eyes widening in horror.
Not our audience.
I know. I don't think she's ever listened to an episode. Ever. It was like when you sent those cushions last year, and she was like, "What?" Eh? I was like, "It's Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park." She was like, "Don't get it."
In cushion form.
In cushion form, I know. Yeah. Eli still loves it, and he goes, "Who is that man?" Form. I told you loads of times.
What?
That's The Exorcist.
I know. I was just wondering if you've been getting lonely out on the boat, that's all.
No. No. Well, I'm on a boat with other men, so, when you're on a boat with other men, you never get bored, if you know what I mean.
There's a hell of a lot of engorging going on.
In the Navy.
There's a lot of engorging going on below decks, let me tell you.
Well, until next week, keep it warm for me.
If you can't keep it warm, keep it to yourself.